Hello everybody, it's Wyvern here with another video for Total War Warhammer. CA just dropped their latest patch on us, which added Krell as um, an additional summon hero for the vampire accounts. He is unique to Heinrich Kemmler. He is a ability with one use on a 135-second cooldown. For those of you who don't know the lore of Krell, is a chaos champion of Khorne, who was around long before even Sigmar was even born, and he basically built up a barbarian empire before getting slain by the dwarves at Karak Kadrin. Then he was resurrected later on down the road by Nagash. And then once again he was slain a second time when Sigmar slew both Nagash and then him at a later battle. And then finally, in more recent times, Kemmler has found his corpse and raised him from the dead one extra time, hoping that he can control Krell. As it is, he can't control him or he doesn't control him as well as he thinks he does. And in later lore, Krell does end up turning back to Nagash once Nagash is brought back. But definitely an exciting update. In campaign, Kemmler gets Krell immediately. He gets him at level 1. He does not need to complete any quests. He doesn't need to get Kemmler up to any sort of higher level, like some of the other lords have to get for their other abilities. And I definitely think this makes Kemmler significantly more viable. Definitely significantly more viable than Gorst. Of course, that doesn't take very much. I still don't think he's as good as Manfred von Karstein, just because Manfred's amazing, but definitely makes Kemmler much more viable in campaign. He does deteriorate over time because he is a summoned unit, and we'll see what some of the issues with that are, how to counteract that. Now, there are, of course, some benefits and disadvantages to being a summon unit. And the fact that he's a summon unit means that, of course, he deteriorates in battle. It also means that in campaign, you can't improve him. You can't give him additional or better weapons. You can't give him... you can't improve his stats. You can't raise his melee attack, his melee defense. So he stays static, which means that he's not necessarily the best of heroes by later stages of the game, when you can replace him with White King or something. But definitely not a bad hero. And we're going to be checking out his stats in game. Those stats are basically what you get in campaign just as well. I'm going to be running him here with Kemmler and a handful of skeletons and zombies, just to meat shield Kemmler, because there's a 135-second cooldown. And I'm going to be going against Empire. So without further ado, I'm going to start up a battle. The fact that he's summoned also means that he, the fact that Krell's summoned means that he obviously doesn't take any upkeep. He doesn't take any, he can't take damage. He'll always be there at full HP in battle, at least initially, before he starts disintegrating. So there are definitely some benefits, as well as disadvantages to the fact that he's a summoned unit in campaign. I'm going to start the battle here. There's a fairly long cooldown. I'm just going to move my army forward. I'm going to throw things into fast forward so we don't waste too much time. And yeah. I didn't put in summon zombies into my line of spells here, but something you'll immediately notice is that so when you do both summon zombies and Lord of Undeath here spawning Krell have 60 range, but because zombies are summoned from the center of the unit, so like say this model, or skeletons are summoned from like the center of the unit, it means that you don't like you can't always push the unit out all the way to the max of 60 meters. Krell, being a single model, will spawn exactly 60 meters away, so I do think that's a bit beneficial. I'm going to spawn him first. We're going to in front of my army, and I'm going to kind of push him in and see how he performs, hopefully against the spears and then against the Lord. So I'm going to summon him here. And we see Krell himself. So, I do believe he starts off with 2980 HP coming in, and immediately starts disintegrating. And it disintegrates rather quickly. It's about 10 HP a tick, or is 10 HP a second. Oh no, 3000 HP. Okay, so yeah, definitely medium amount of HP, but he is disintegrating at 10 HP a second. Absolutely gorgeous unit model. Got that whole Chaos Warrior aesthetic with the horns, the crazy crest here. The huge battle axe glowing with imbued magic. All the skulls, the spikes, combined with that, of course, the undead skeleton, the skull and glowing eyes. Looks really pretty scary. And definitely absolutely gorgeous model, and also very true to the tabletop model. It looks very similar, and honestly, I think just better. It's got nicer details, and it looks a bit cleaner. Definitely an absolutely gorgeous unit model. Going into his stats though, 3000 HP, but disintegrating. That's over here, or unbinding. Now his other stats, missile resistance. So even though he doesn't have a shield, he does take reduced missile damage. He'll take 15% less damage. Magic resistance of 20%, which is not bad. Since magic isn't always the rarest, sometimes people will bring magic attacks against vampire counts, so it's not the worst thing in the world. He causes fear, and he causes terror. And given that you can summon him into a battle anywhere, this means that he can be used like a unit of zombies for causing a flank and fear penalty, but he also causes terror, which could be absolutely brutal. He does have encourage. I don't think you're going to be summoning him for that, but not a bad thing. If you're using him near your front line, it can definitely be useful. Hide, that's fairly irrelevant. You're probably going to be popping it when you're attacking at the last second. And of course undead, so he can fall apart and disintegrate if he gets too low in HP. Actually, can he? Maybe not. He doesn't actually have either crumbling or disintegration here, so maybe he can't. Maybe all he can do is unbind. So I'm going to push him straight into the spears. Now, actually, first let's look at his other stats. Armor of 100. This is very good. This is actually the best armor in any non-Blood Knight vampire, and the best armor for any heroic vampire. That's one of his first standout stats. His other standout stat is weapon strength, being armor piercing, 20 divided between 210 normal and 260 armor piercing. This is huge. Vampire counts without dragon mounts or vampire lords without dragons do not have armor piercing damage. The only vampire unit that does have armor piercing built in on foot is the Ghoul King, but the Ghoul King has similarly bad melee stats, no armor. He does do poison. But his raw damage output is a little weaker, and definitely he's a fair bit squishier than Krell is, because with this percentage reduction on armor will probably be fairly significant when dealing with enemy heroes, especially because most heroes in this game don't necessarily have armor piercing unless they're mounted, or mounted on a monstrous creature, really. So definitely nifty little boost there. Now the rest of his stats are fairly common. Leadership 70, not bad. Definitely good for undead. It means he's not really going to fall apart, but then again, he's a summon unit, so it doesn't matter. Speed 33 is not bad for big hulking skeleton with super thick chaos armor on him. So definitely not a bad mobility for a foot soldier like this. Melee attack is 50, which is not amazing, not terrible. If you can compare it to the, obviously I'm not going to compare him to Kemmler, because Kemmler is terrible melee combatant. But something like General of the Empire is at less. The General of the Empire is 55 and 45 melee attack and melee defense, compared to Krell's 50 and 32. So he's definitely not the greatest there. His charge bonus is also fairly mediocre, only 35 compared to the General's 45. Even Kemmler, I do believe, has like 18. So not the most amazing thing in the world. So his biggest strengths are really that AP damage and his armor, plus the fact that he causes terror. So without further ado, we're going to see how much splash he does against these spearmen. I'm not sure if the immediately he gets a huge splash off, gets 3 kills right away, and it does seem like Krell attacks fairly quickly. He doesn't get particularly many kills though in combat. I will pop both Invocation of Neck and Van Hel's Dance Macabre, and I do believe Van Hel's Dance Macabre is practically mandatory to make Krell a good pick again for hero killing. He has not the best, as I mentioned, he doesn't have the best of melee stats, but as you can see, he is hitting about 4 units over there at a time. I'm going to try to save Kemmler here. Oh, it looks like I might have botched that a bit. Kemmler's already falling apart. I've been too focused on using Krell. I'll just time down. It's okay. Kemmler will recover his leadership eventually. So as you can see, Krell's doing an absolutely monstrous job here against these spears. He is causing terror. They are losing. He's doing absolutely massive amounts of damage. Seems that he has huge splash. The first time around when I tested him, it seemed like his splash was not particularly great. Sometimes he's not getting that. Weirdly enough, sometimes he'll like get multiple kills like after he's already attacked. I'm not entirely sure what that's all about. You can cast Invocation of Nehek on him. He obviously gets benefits from being near Kemmler for that regen. His max regen cap is 2250, so 2 Neheks will basically fill him out. But he is absolutely able to demolish these spears, and I think he has something like Great Swords will do even better. Unfortunately, like I said, his melee attack is not particularly good. It's only 50, which for a Lord or a hero, and I'm going to compare him to Lords, because honestly, the Vampire heroes have even worse stats than he does for melee attack and melee defense. So I think it's more, given that he does have that crazy armor piercing and that armor, he is more comparable to a Lord. The only hero with other armor piercing I can think of is the, without a mount of course, is the Gorbel. So, off the top of my head. So obviously General's kind of just ignoring those guys. But I'm going to push Krell in. Krell still has a little bit of HP regen on him, 45 points, not a lot. But I will see how much damage I can get in here with him before he disintegrates. These zombies are kind of blocking Krell, which is a little unfortunate. Now, he doesn't really, obviously the General of the Empire has popped both Foe Seeker and Deadly Onslaught, and Krell is being a little blocked. But as you can see, Krell hits like an absolute truck. He's hitting for about 310, which makes sense with given the General's percentage reduction for armor. 1300 HP, and I do believe, so in Krell's stats, if you look at Krell's stats, it does describe him as a damage dealer. I do believe he attacks faster than other units. Now this is really crucial given that he has he disintegrates incredibly quickly. It's very crucial that he, I'm just gonna try to hunt this guy down. I'm gonna pop Van Hel's Dance Macabre on Krell. But, and I think that with Van Hel's Dance Macabre, if you can pop that, then Krell will become an absolute monster of a hero / Lord killer, especially in early game when Lords aren't leveled up and don't have all their buffs yet. But he does attack fairly quickly, he moves fairly quickly, especially with Van Hel's. And he does bring armor piercing to the field for vampires, which is rare. I think he's an incredibly potent hero. Definitely is in a campaign where AI is not particularly great. You're definitely probably going to be able to drop him on a hero. I think he's more of a hero, something you want to drop behind enemy lines to terror out him, or drop him on an enemy hero to crush him, especially in campaign. Against humans, I don't believe this is really going to be so much the case, because humans will generally just micro away from you. They'll, if they're on a mount, they'll just outlast you. He can form a bodyguard for Kemmler, but in campaign or in a multiplayer, I definitely think he's more going to be used for backdooring enemy troops, being like a super zombie squad that actually does damage. Maybe also countering elite enemy infantry, because he does have fairly decent splash. He does have armor piercing, so he'll probably absolutely demolish something like a unit of great swords or chaos warriors or aspiring champions. Something, if you can catch something like that with him, he'll be absolutely brutal, I think. So, and he's only 173 gold, so not the most expensive hero in the game, or not the most expensive summon in the game. So definitely not bad. Yeah, I definitely think it's cool. I think, like I said, he makes Kemmler much more viable in campaign. Definitely a great addition. Looks awesome on the field, and is a pretty potent combatant in my opinion. You do want to have to, I think, use him cautiously when fighting against humans. But other than that, definitely great addition. Definitely happy about it. And I think that's basically it. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like or subscribe down below. Even if you did not, feel free to comment or critique how I can improve and what I can do better with these videos. I thank you all for watching, and Wyvern out.